What if I told you that one of the most powerful rulers in human history became so arrogant that he claimed to be a god? Not a prophet. Not a king chosen by Allah. A man. A human being. A ruler who believed the entire world belonged to him. His name was Nimrod. For centuries, his story has been remembered as one of the greatest examples of pride and arrogance ever witnessed on earth. Nimrod ruled a vast kingdom. His armies were enormous. His wealth was beyond imagination. His palaces stretched across great cities. People obeyed his every command. And with every victory, his arrogance grew. At first, he saw himself as a powerful king. Then he saw himself as greater than other kings. Eventually, he began believing something far more dangerous. He believed nobody was above him. Not even Allah. As the years passed, people became afraid to question him. Anyone who challenged his authority faced severe punishment. His words became law. His desires became commands. And his ego became larger than his kingdom itself. Then one day, news reached Nimrod about a young man. A man calling people toward the worship of only one God. A man rejecting idols. A man refusing to bow before kings. That man was Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam. Unlike everyone else, Ibrahim, alayhi salam, feared only Allah. Not kings. Not armies. Not rulers. When Nimrod heard about him, he became furious. Who was this young man challenging the beliefs of his people? Who was this man telling others that all power belonged to Allah alone? Nimrod ordered his soldiers to bring Ibrahim, alayhi salam, before him. The young prophet was taken into the king's court. Around him stood powerful ministers, wealthy nobles, and armed guards. At the center sat Nimrod upon his magnificent throne. He expected fear. He expected submission. But Ibrahim, alayhi salam, stood calmly. Without fear. Without hesitation. Nimrod looked at him and demanded to know why he was calling people away from the religion of their ancestors. Ibrahim, alayhi salam, replied with complete confidence. He said that Allah alone was the creator of the heavens and the earth. Allah alone gives life. Allah alone causes death. And Allah alone deserves worship. The entire court fell silent. Nobody had ever spoken to Nimrod like this before. The king's face hardened. His pride could not accept such words. Then Nimrod attempted to prove his own greatness. He pointed toward two prisoners. According to some reports, he ordered one to be released and another to be executed. Then he proudly declared, "I give life and I cause death." The court watched carefully. Many people were impressed. But Ibrahim, alayhi salam, immediately exposed the weakness of Nimrod's argument. The prophet was not talking about sparing a life or taking a life. He was speaking about true creation. The power that belongs only to Allah. The power to bring a human being into existence from nothing. Nimrod had no answer. Yet his arrogance would not allow him to admit defeat. Instead, he prepared for a debate that would become one of the most famous confrontations in history. A debate that would completely expose the limits of a king who believed he was a god. Then Ibrahim, alayhi salam, presented a challenge so simple that nobody in the court could deny it. He said, "My Lord is the one who brings the sun from the east. So bring it from the west." The word struck the court like thunder. Suddenly, the discussion was no longer about prisoners or human decisions. It was about the universe itself. Every single day, the sun rose from the east by the command of Allah. Every morning. Every season. Every year. No king had ever changed it. No army had ever controlled it. No ruler had ever stopped it. If Nimrod truly possessed divine power, then this challenge should have been easy. The entire court turned toward the king. Everyone waited for an answer, but none came. For the first time, Nimrod was speechless. His wealth could not help him. His throne could not help him. His soldiers could not help him. The challenge was impossible. The Quran tells us that the disbeliever was completely confounded. The truth had become undeniable. Before the eyes of his own court, Nimrod's claim to divinity had collapsed. But arrogance is a dangerous disease. Instead of accepting the truth, Nimrod became even more stubborn. His hatred toward Ibrahim, alayhi salam, grew stronger. He refused to admit defeat. He refused to believe. And he refused to submit to Allah. The king who could command armies could not control his own pride. And that pride would soon lead him toward a punishment nobody could have imagined. Not an army. Not a disaster. Not a powerful enemy. Allah would destroy the mighty king through something far smaller than anyone expected. Nimrod refused to repent. Even after witnessing clear signs, he continued claiming power that belonged only to Allah. His kingdom remained vast. His armies remained strong. And his arrogance continued to grow. Then Allah decided to show the world a lesson that would be remembered for generations. A lesson proving that no matter how powerful a person becomes, they remain weak before their creator. According to famous Islamic narrations, Allah sent an army against Nimrod. But it was not an army of soldiers. Not warriors. Not kings. Not giants. It was an army of tiny insects. Mosquitoes. Creatures so small that people barely noticed them. The insects spread across the land. They entered homes. They covered fields. They overwhelmed everything around them. People were terrified. Animals suffered. The kingdom fell into chaos. Yet the greatest punishment was reserved for Nimrod himself. One tiny insect reached the king. Just one. According to the narrations, it entered through his nose and made its way into his head. From that moment, Nimrod began suffering unbearable pain. Day and night. Without rest. Without relief. The mighty ruler who once claimed to be a god could not stop a creature smaller than a fingertip. His wealth could not save him. His doctors could not cure him. His soldiers could not protect him. The king who challenged Allah had become helpless. And the punishment would continue for years. A humiliation unlike anything the world had ever seen. The pain inside Nimrod's head became unbearable. Day after day, the mighty king suffered. The ruler who once commanded armies could no longer control his own body. According to famous narrations, the pain became so severe that people would strike his head in an attempt to give him temporary relief. For years, Nimrod lived in humiliation. The man who claimed to be a god had been defeated by one of the smallest creatures Allah ever created. Not by an army. Not by a king. Not by a rebellion. But by a tiny insect. Eventually, Nimrod died. His kingdom faded. His wealth disappeared. His palaces crumbled. And the ruler who believed he could challenge Allah became nothing more than a lesson in history. But his story did not end there. Because every generation that reads about Nimrod is reminded of the same truth. Power does not belong to kings. Wealth does not belong to kings. Life and death do not belong to kings. Everything belongs to Allah alone. Nimrod believed his throne made him unstoppable. Yet Allah showed the world how weak even the strongest ruler can be. The story of Nimrod is not just about a king from the past. It is a warning against arrogance. A warning against pride. And a reminder that no matter how powerful a person becomes, they can never stand above their creator. The king who claimed, "I am a god," is gone. But the Lord he challenged remains forever. May Allah protect us from arrogance and keep our hearts humble before him. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Project Nuravo, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories from Islamic history. And remember, every tyrant has an end, but the truth always remains. The end. Before you leave, think about this. Nimrod ruled a mighty kingdom. He possessed wealth, armies, and power beyond imagination. Yet in the end, none of it could save him. Because when arrogance rises against Allah, its fall is always certain. His throne disappeared, his kingdom vanished. But the lesson remains. True power belongs only to Allah. If you enjoyed this story and want more powerful documentaries from Islamic history, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to Project Nuravo. And tell us in the comments, what was the biggest lesson you learned from the story of Nimrod? Your support helps us bring more forgotten stories of Islamic history to life. Until next time.